sitting here with David and Cheryl Goldstein. Thank you so much for taking some time to sit down with me today.
Glad to do it.
Have you been enjoying your experience here so far this week?
We have.
It's
it's always sad when it's over. You know?
I know.
It's almost over.
Almost. There's still the fun tonight.
Still the fun tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's been so great to see so many people we haven't gotten to see in a long time.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And to meet new people. Of
Right.
course.
Yep.
Right. So tell us a little bit about what you do and about the program that you run.
Okay. You did. So about 2 years ago, the club hired us in to start a program that became known as Escapade Hangouts. The club kind of realized that there was a need for a program that offered a lot of active, adventurous type of activities. For RVers who were not ready to settle down yet, but also weren't working age. We had the Escapers group, and it was incredibly successful, and so many people gravitated to that weren't necessarily really in that demographic, and so we realized there was an unmet need for this kind of activity. So the Hangouts program was born, and it's basically a series of 5 to 10 day RV based rallies. We keep them small, down to 30 rigs, so that everybody gets a chance to meet each other. It's kind of intimate. A lot of people make new friends, and we go out and we do biking, hiking, kayaking. We did whitewater rafting on the Snake River just a couple weeks ago.
Done zip lining
which was a blast.
before.
Zip lining.
It's a lot of fun.
So we do a lot of active stuff. We try to get some experiential learning into each hangout. So we've done things like tour a sustainable farm, history tours. We did wild blueberry harvesting. We're bottling bourbon in. Yeah, that's a great experience. Yeah, we're doing that in October. There's potlucks. There's a lot of in-camp activities. So really just runs the gamut. But we stay busy from morning through the evening, and it's always a really, really fun week.
That sounds like a lot of fun. You as a solo traveler, I'm full-time and I travel solo. You want to have things to do to, experience these fun things like whitewater rafting. I'd be intimidating to go by yourself, but if you were in a group of friends, it makes it so much.
And we do,
it's more fun.
Right.
Right.
And we do have, it is the majority of our participants are couples, but we do always have a good handful of solos, and they make friends, and our group is open to everybody. It's not a group. I said it's a misnomer. I shouldn't call it a group, but it's the people who participate can come from anywhere in the Escapees RV Club. So it's open to any RVer who's a member who wants to join us.
You talk about being solo, and I think whether you're a couple or family or solo, it's hard in the nomadic lifestyle to really make those real world connections. And we can do it online. We did a lot of online this last year. But there's nothing like being able to, sit around a campfire with a group of people that either or that you're becoming friends with, and form those real connections that then you can maintain, in between events when you're online and stuff like that. So we actually, so this was November, December, January, February during the pandemic. So everybody had been isolated for a while, all right, and people were hungry to get together. It's like, hey, how could we do this? And actually JP, who's the convergence director, came up with this idea because a lot of the escapers were kind of organizing these pods. And so he said, well, what about if we sort of formalize that into a one-time program adapted for COVID, where we gave people who were willing to adhere to safety protocols that we laid out, it was a pretty elaborate set of procedures, to stay together, in a small group safely for up to 4 months. So.
Wow.
But a minimum of 1 month.
Okay.
Minimum 1 month. So we did not have people coming and going. You had to stay for at least a month. You were allowed to stay for up to 4 months. And, and like Cheryl said, we didn't do potlucks. We didn't, there was no sharing of food. We did limited activities because, you couldn't keep up the pace that we do in a hangout for 4 months. Be exhausted. But we had a few activities each week. There was usually some kind of social each day, and people stayed separated. We wore masks. We actually got everybody, these are the hangout masks I'm still wearing, but we got everybody these masks so that they felt like they had something official to wear. And really people were very good about it. the people who came to this were the ones who wanted a safe place to go.
Right.
So it was kind of a creative way to still have some social activities, you know, during COVID without, you know, taking undue risk.
I kind of found out about this RV full-time lifestyle during COVID, right? So it's an opposite thing, right? I've never thought of that, like what everyone did if they're full-timers. That's,
Right.
yeah, I was bored in my house by myself, and it's nice that, you know, the full-timers were all together in a pod, so that's nice.
Yeah.
It is nice. And one of the things that happened that I'll say for the Escapees RV Club is there was advocacy. There was advocacy for making sure that all RV parks didn't just close, because full-timers did need a place to go.
So, okay, Hangouts. How do you go about planning these? What is something that, you know, did you take it from the group? Do you kind of
Yeah,
do it
so
on your own?
they're a lot of fun to plan.
I can imagine.
There are a lot of work to plan.
There are a lot
Right.
of work to plan, but that's what I like to help do that that part of it. But some of it is we start with things that we think we would like to do, and we think our friends, people like us, our friends would like to do. So I love planning the events, and we very often will look for places that we've wanted to go, and then we work around that. And what we do is we try to find unique opportunities that people might not find on their own or might have trouble making arrangements to do on their own, whereas we might be able to get a group rate for tickets for an outdoor concert or a rafting trip.
We do a lot of the research to kind of, you know, find out about an area or an event or something like that, so that people don't have to do that on their own.
Right.
Yeah, so when we were in Maine, we found out that there was a blueberry festival going on, and we had a great time doing activities around the blueberry festival. We picked blueberries, we went to a farm, and we actually harvested the blueberries, and then we had, back
we
in
got to eat
camp,
them.
we had a contest, we had a blueberry throwdown, for everybody to make their favorite recipe with blueberries. And so we had that, so we kind of had we try to do some things a little thematic, but we try to do just interesting, exciting things that people might not do traveling in RVs by themselves.
I mean, we're in the demographic that Hangouts is trying to reach.
Right.
Right? Okay, so, we're, more or less retired, even though we're still working for the club, but recent, but we still want to get out and do all these things.
Right.
And we're on the road all the time. And so the kinds of activities that we like to do are typically the kinds of activities, people in that demographic also want to do.
Right.
So that kind of makes it easy. It's like, well, what would we do if we're here?
I'm interested in being a host. This sounds fun.
You gotta come to a hangout.
You gotta
I
come
do.
to a hangout.
Okay, that's the rule. Okay, all right.
That's the rule, yep.
Okay.
You have to
Yep.
come to at least one.
Okay, all right.
But
Yeah.
but next year, Escapade next year is near Nashville.
Yep.
And so, because we'll be there, we're going to do a hangout in Nashville before the Escapade.
Ah.
And we're big country music fans, so there will probably be a lot of country music. We're going to go to the Grand Ole Opry one night, and do a lot of the Nashville stuff on Broadway and stuff like that. So,
You gotta go to Tootsie's. You gotta go to the.
you got to go on the Bourbon Trail.
Right,
so,
right, right. So it's not a group. It's not a club. It's
Right.
just. It's an activity.
It's for the
It's an event.
Escapees RV Club.
Right,
So,
right.
all escapees are welcome. It's one of several activity programs that the club has.
How many participants would you say? I mean, there's 30 per event.
30 rigs.
30 rigs.
So
about-
less than 60 people.
Usually
Gotcha.
55 to 60 people.
Okay.
Our events, the Hangouts have been crazy popular to the point where somebody said it's almost like the Hunger Games to get tickets. But we've had some that have sold. We had one sold out for up near Glacier National Park that we're doing next month that sold out in 6 minutes, and we thought that was fast. And then we've got one in Texas in October called the Texas Bourbon and Wine Hangout, which sold out in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. So you have to have very fast fingers on the keyboard.
Yeah.
So when do you know that these hangouts are planned, and when do they go on sale? How do I alert myself to know?
Great question. So what we do is we have an email list called for Hangouts announcements, and we encourage people who are interested in Hangouts to subscribe to that list. We just use it for announcing new Hangouts, and in this case we invited people to the social, that was here at Escapade. But generally it's just, here's an announcement of an upcoming Hangout, here's what it's going to be about, here's a link to the event page for more details. here's the date the tickets go on sale, put it on your calendar. And we also say, here are other ones that are coming up after that, so people can kind of know what's coming. One of the things that's changed since COVID is because there's so many more RVers on the road now. We are having to compete for that campground space. And so we're having to plan much further in advance, which, you know, ends up being good because people know what's coming up and they can make plans. But we usually put our events on sale, you know, about 5 months before the event date, so that people have plenty of time to make their plans.
Anything exciting change that you're excited for this year, or?
We're excited to get started again.
Yeah.
That's the main
So
thing.
we've really so this hangout that we had in July in the Grand Tetons was our first one of the season of the year.
Good.
And we have so many lined up. We probably have 15 in some stage of planning going forward. And we're just so excited for them to happen and to be able to sell tickets. For so long we didn't. We tried to get together online with some of the community, but it wasn't the same.
Right.
I mean, the program wasn't even a year old when COVID hit. I mean, our first hangout was June of 2019.
Oh, wow.
And we shut down in March of 2020.
Anything else you want to share about Hangouts?
No, just come hang out with us.
Awesome.
So,
Cool.
hang loose. Hang out.
Well, thank you both so much. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Hope you have where are you off to next?
We are headed towards Montana for the Glacier Country Hangout that's in a month. So, but we're going to spend a little time up there by ourselves, doing some stuff and scouting out the area.
Well, if you have any cancellations, let me know.
Okay.
We will.
There's about 30 people ahead of you on the waiting
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, well, have a great time, and again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.